I'm Mike. So you've decided to take it upon yourself to install your own ceramic tile on your floor. Congratulations, it's a good way to save money. And once you've got your floor scraped and swept, there's one thing important that you need to consider in your floor prep. One of the important things that you're going to want to consider before laying your tile is floor leveling. Here's a spot that I filled in, filling in some of the dips in the floor using just regular thin set with a straight edge. And here's some other areas that I did. And this is the tile that I'm installing. This is a porcelain plank, and they are about 3 feet long. And I'll tell you, if you don't do any floor leveling before setting these tiles, it is going to give you a lot of trouble. And now what I'm doing, I'm laying my tile in this direction, and so I screeded with a straight edge in this direction right here. One of the first things to consider is what type of floor leveling materials to use. And by the way, it's not really floor leveling, it's floor flattening. You just need to flatten your floor. So what do we have available to us? We have the ever popular self-levelers. These are the types of levelers that advertise that you pour them on the floor and they seek their own level. And so self-levelers, what would you use those for? Maybe if you were setting marble on your floor and you needed your floor to be perfectly flat, and you would want to use something like a very long straight edge to do this, to get your floor flat, where you may flatten it in one direction and then flatten it in another and then fill in all the areas around your floor to get it perfectly flat. What else is there? There is fast drying concrete patch, and I've worked with some fast drying concrete patch that by the time I mixed it in the bucket and brought it into the house where I was working, it had already hardened up inside the bucket and I couldn't use it at all. Whenever you are leveling your floors, you would fill in the dips in the floor with a straight edge. And no matter what type of material you're using, you need to screed it with a straight edge, at least 6 foot or more. Even though if you use a fast drying patch, even though it hardens quickly, it still has moisture in it. And so it's good for that moisture to escape out of there. So, but that's another thing to consider. And so another one is you can just use just the materials that you use to set the tile. And in this video, I'm using regular thin set mortar to level my floors. What I like about it is that the thin sets have a great adhesive property, where some of your self-levelers, they don't have the adhesive properties, and so it is required to use a primer. And with thin set mortar, it has great adhesive properties, and so when you work it into your substrate and you screed over it, it does a great job of sticking to the floor, and then of course your tile will stick well to that. And so anyway, that's just a few thoughts of what kind of materials are out there and are available to us. And so here is a spot that I need to fill in because I ran out of material one day last week, and I'm going to show you what I do with that. All right, here's my 6 foot straight edge that I'm going to use to screed the thin set to flatten out the floor. Let me zoom in a little bit and I'll show you the dip that I'm dealing with here. If you look at the edge, the concrete is touching there, and then it goes down about 1/4 of an inch or so and then back up. The yellow stuff you're looking at is a waterproofing membrane that I put over a crack. Here's the mixer that I'm using and the paddle that I'm using. And I found that this kind of paddle here works the best. This drill operates at up to 800 RPM. It's a variable speed. But if you mix that fast, it's not going to mix your mud very well. It'll actually put a lot of air in it. So since it's a variable speed, I can find about half speed. About 300 to 400 RPM is good. And it mixes your mix a lot better, a lot more efficient. Now, I mixed my thin set up a little bit soupier than I normally would, so that it would pour out a lot easier and spread a lot easier. So we'll just pour it out, pour out a good amount. Not make a mess. And I screwed this board onto my straight edge to help keep it straight and stiff. I kind of like that. I'll go all the way out as far as I can. What I need to do is just work it in a little bit so that it makes a really good contact with the floor. Push it up against the straight edge like that. Let's not make too much of a mess. 4 strokes back and forth. You can see where it ran out. And we can take some of this. Looks like I might have to. This might do it. Go all the way. And there it is. And the excess here, just smooth it out. Now if I'd have had too much of it, like that, I could just pick it up with a trowel, like that. Until I can just smooth it out like that. Now when this dries tomorrow, I can come back with a trowel or maybe a 14-inch blade or something like that and just scrape the bumps off of it, and I'll be good to go. Here is a shot of some of the tile that I've laid on top of some of the leveler that I put down. And I'll tell you what, I was sure glad I put the leveler on it. It came out nice. You remember this shot through the kitchen where I had leveler all the way to the cabinets? It's incomplete, but the tile's coming out nice. Had I not put the leveler down, I would have had tiles that were higher than others, and it would have gave me a lot of trouble. Remember that spot that we leveled out earlier? Well, it was time well spent. One thing I like to do is to put my floor leveler down before I cut my door jambs. Because I put my floor leveler down, it raised my floor up a little bit, and had I cut my door jambs first, I would have to cut them again before I laid my tile. So this way, I only have to cut my jambs once. Here's an idea I came up with a while back, what to do with that excess thin set. And I just poured it out from my bucket the day before, and then the next day I can just come by off my tarp and just peel it right up, and then just throw it away. Here's another cool trick. I found this this hose. It was broken, and I just kind of cut the end of it off and just screwed it onto the end of my nozzle. And so when I spray it, it's nice and smooth. So if I have to fill up a jug, I can just set it down in there. And there's no splash.